Ice King. I'll tell you what time it is. Time for me to kick your butt. Oh, hello, teenage viewers. It's me again, Mr. Ted, with another episode of your favorite show, The Mr. Ted Show. My topic for this week's episode is video games. Now, I'm going to make a stab in the dark here. I'm going to guess that every single person watching this video plays video games. Now, I know what you may be thinking. I don't pick up a controller and chainsaw zombies to death. I just play games on Facebook. I just tap gnomes until they harvest crops for me, or I dress up fashion dolls in sparkly outfits. Well, guess what? That makes you a video gamer. And that also means you're being corrupted by one of the most horrifying forces at work in our youth today, according to adults. Video games occupy an increasingly greater space in our culture. For a medium that's only been around for less than 40 years, they have grown incredibly large. From the early days of Pong and Pac-Man up to the latest next-generation electronic diversions, video games are becoming more and more visible, and more people are playing them, and more people think they're bad. How many of you have been told by a parent or a teacher or a friend to stop playing video games? Get off your lazy butt, go outside and do something important, or read a book, or do your homework for God's sakes. Video games are seen as, at best, a distraction, and at worst, something that turns you into brainless, slack-jawed zombies. But what do video games really do to us? What do video games really do for us? And can video games be good for us? The writer Steven Johnson, in his 2005 book, Everything Bad is Good for You, argued that video games can help us to become more productive, more efficient, and more intelligent at certain kinds of tasks. Now, before we go any further, let me point out that I am not saying that playing video games will make you incredibly smart in every aspect of your life. You will be unable to find, for example, a video game to help you in your AP history class. Video games are not a replacement for school, as I learned to my disappointment back in 7th grade. But video games do provide what you might consider exercise for your brain. Your brain is, after all, a muscle. A large and gray one, but it's still a muscle, and it requires exercise just like anything else. Training your brain in certain skills or abilities has been shown to improve performance in other areas. For example, learning a musical instrument may improve your math skills. Presenting yourself with small daily challenges, for example, like crosswords, has been shown to delay the onset of, for example, Alzheimer's or other degenerative brain disorders. Video games, or any games for that matter, are perfect for this sort of brain training. Continuing to learn new skills and improving old skills will help keep your brain young for decades to come. This is a standard Xbox 360 controller. These controls can be used to do everything from shooting zombies in the face to rolling a giant ball made of trash around the planet. Teaching yourself how to use this controller for various games is a form of learning like any other. The same goes for learning how to, say, fling an angry bird or dance in front of a video game camera. In other words, video games teach you new skills, and practicing those skills will help keep your brain youthful. So much for why video games are good for you. Why are they bad for you? Well, they do have a point. Now, just because video games are good for you in some ways, they are still bad for you in others. You may not know it, but your brain has a reward system built into it. When you complete a task or action, your brain typically rewards you with a small dose of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that basically makes you feel good. One of the things that video game makers have learned is that by giving you more frequent small rewards, you will keep coming back to the video game, playing it continually in order to keep getting these small bursts of dopamine. Modern video games will often feature a long string of very small actions, each of which can be completed in, say, 5 minutes or so. For example, completing a building in your Farmville, unlocking a new outfit for your character in a Facebook game, achieving an achievement in an Xbox 360 game. On completing each one of these actions, you receive a small reward from your brain, a bit of dopamine to make you feel better. Because these tasks are so easy and so relatively quick to complete, you are encouraged to complete a lot of them, one after the other. 5 minutes per task may not sound like a lot, but if you try to complete, say, 100 of those tasks in a row, then you've just spent 3 hours playing your video game. Video games are designed to be addictive. They're designed to be something that you want to complete over and over again. And video game designers have gotten very good at making games that make you want to play them. Again, video games are not bad, and as I've said, in some ways they're very good for you. The problem is not with video games themselves, it is with an excess of video games. And this brings me back to my first point about training your brain. Video games are good at teaching you new skills and new abilities, and thus increasing your brain's flexibility. However, the key to making your brain flexible is to vary the activities you perform. You could spend your entire life becoming the world's greatest baseball player and then become completely confused at the sight of a soccer ball. Or you may have an advanced degree in mathematics and have no idea how to build a shed. Variety is the spice of life, as they say, and they're not wrong. Video games aren't bad for you, any more than playing basketball or doing your homework or reading a book even. It's when you focus on one activity to the exclusion of all others that your brain suffers as a result. And occasionally, so do your grades. So in the end, my advice is this. Keep trying new things. Don't become so obsessed with a single activity that you forget to do anything else. And if you find an activity difficult, don't give up immediately. Keep trying. Learning new skills will be what keeps your brain healthy for the rest of your life. This has been another edition of the Mr. Ted Show. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have a princess to save. Oh, birds, why are you so angry?